Hi, in this video we will explore about static keyword in Java, and we will also figure out whether static variable can be changed or not, because this is most confusing topic when the static variable comes in the picture, like while you're like using in the programs, like, and why do you even want to use the static keyword in the program basically. So first of all, any Java program that is getting created is going to have a main method. So let's see the example in the Eclipse. So I have a class. So in order to have some members like data members and to create like methods or to access the data members, I need to create an object. And how this works is when the first thing that is getting loaded in the JVM is going to be the class. If you look at it, there's a class that is going to get loaded. And then there's going to be this method. And this method is going to be accessed how is like using this class name. So this method will be accessed. I'm going to use some comment line. This method is going to be called like classname.main. And how this is calling like classname.main, because there is a static keyword in this method, and because of that it is going to be called with the classname.main, and that is why your main method needs to be static. And also, if you don't give static to your main method, your program is not going to run, because it's a very important thing. The static keyword is the one that is going to bind um, your method with the class memory. Now let's see, for example, I am going to have one more method, public void print, and here let's have system.out.println and print how, and I'm going to print now. This method is going to be like a normal method, and this no method needs to access this method. You still have to create an object, and is equals to, and like member variable dot operator, and where is it, print. I have not even made a difference. Okay, hello world. So it's an important keyword that needs to be there in your main method, so that your main method is available during the class is getting loaded. So in order to access this class, like the class name is like what the static class, I need to have at least one method which is going to be a static method, and that method is going to be my main method. Now that is the one aspect of why they use static keyword in Java. There is one more aspect of how it will be useful in the programs. So say that you have a class, and say this class is going to be like holidays. I'm having a class called holiday, and inside that I'm going to have string string day is equals to Sunday. Now I have a class called holidays, and inside that I have a string called Sunday, and I wanted to access this day in this class. Okay, and I want to access it without creating an object. So one of the what to say like one more way how you use the static keyword is like when you have your member variables as static like string static. So public static. So I'm having static variable name. So if this is going to be static, right, I don't have to create an object to access this. So in this way, I can simply put class name, which is holidays, and holidays dot day. So if we'll run this is going to be a variable and this is going to be a static variable because I've used the keyword static next to it, and I'm calling that and it is printing me like it's going to print me like there could be like questions like why we are even using static and why do I even want to why wouldn't I want to create an object and then access it? Say for example, like now you know that I have like a variable which is day and the day is going to be like Sunday, and that day is going to be like a static variable day. So now in this class I'm going to again I wanted to use the same variable in another class. So let's say we have some method here. So I'm going to create a method called print day. Let's take this and let's let's put that here. And what I'm going to do is day is equals to, I'm going to say this as Christmas. Chris December holiday. I am going to reassign this. So people generally get confused that if a variable is static and that you cannot change it. Static variable it is a variable, so you can change it throughout your program. But the main point is the memory of this variable is going to be like at the class level. It is not like at the instance level. So even here, so here I'm using it like inside this method, like I'm making it to be used like I want it to be used like restricted to the instance. Let's see how it will work. So I'm going to print. So this I'm directly calling the static variable from the class. So I'm just using the static variable. And in order to access this method, if you see this method belongs to this class and it is a non-static method. So since it's a non-static method, I have to create a object for that equals to, let's create an object and let me call the print holiday. So I'm going to print. So when the object is getting called, it is basically referring to this Christmas. Now, if I'll be putting this print statement here, it's going to call the Sunday from the class memory because class memory comes first. So this gets loaded and then I'm using the object to access this method, and here it has got reassigned. So this Christmas is getting printed here, which means I will be able to reassign the um, static variable. And we can also see a method called static. We can create a method called static method. So I am creating it in as public because the class is already public and I don't want to have a private method, so that I will only be able to access it inside the very same class. So having it public will be helpful in this scenario. So static test day, and let's put. So I like again, this is going to be a method and this is inside this holidays class. How will I be able to access this method is pretty much same as like how I access the variable. Like I used class name. This is going to be class name dot main method. So it's going to be test day. So basically, I'm trying to save myself from creating object for holidays every time. I'm just directly giving holidays, which is class name. I'm not creating the object for holidays every time to access that. So in that way, I'm saving a lot of space. Like for a program of like 4 or 5 lines, I think it's not going to be a big deal. But when the requirements grow and when when the modules become larger, this will have using static keyword will be helping in memory management. So we saw what is like how to use static keyword with the variable and with the method. So we can see one more thing with the static variable. So you have a class and you have like a static variable, a method. So there's one more thing called static block. So how static block works is, so you have, so that was one, this is a class like holidays class, and you have a class called static class. It's just the static class. Now I'm going to have a block called static block. As I said, anything with static is going to use class memory, and I'm using it inside this class. And let's close the block. How it works is this way. This will be first load. So if you see the order of how I have put this, like I have the class, I have a method, and we know like to access the method, I need to create an object, and then I have my static block. But let's run this. So even though this is the last point, I have like kept it, but this has got loaded first. So anything that is going to be inside the static block will be executed first. That will be the order of execution. We might think like, why do we use static block instead of using constructor or something? Like constructor is like, you still have to create an object, but like for static block, you don't have to create an object. And this will be useful. Mostly static block will be useful when you have like when you wanted to load property files where you give your file location, and if you're going to read properties from the file, during that time people will be using the static block. That is one of the scope where people generally use a static block in the code. And there is one more variation for the static keyword, which is going to be um, a class itself. So even a class can come with static keyword. So which is going to be, so you have a class called holidays. Let's have a, so inside a class called holidays, I'm going to have bank holiday. Static bank holiday. Inside that, I am going to have a static method, and that is going to be bank day. So even here you can use the static variable only. You will not be able to use the non-static variable, because when you create a static class and when you have a static method, it is one of the rule that you don't use a non-instance, because if you do a instance variable, then it is going to give you a compiler error. I am going to pass Saturday. So this is going to be the last variation of how you use a static keyword, and this is going to be like the example where you use a class inside a class. If you see, there is a holiday class inside holiday. There is a static public class, and these both are going to be called in the third class, which is named as static. So let's call that. So where do you put all those code is like inside this main. How do you call it? So holidays, and your static class is going to be bank holiday, and create a variable equals to new holidays dot bank holiday, and baby dot bank day. So this is how you create a static method inside the static class. So this is one of the way to call them, like creating an object and calling them. And I think we should still be able to. So this is going to be your, let's see, let's see what happens. Yeah. So since this is a static class, you don't really need to create an object for this. So you can directly give the class name and your nested class name and the thing, and you would still be able to print the Saturday. So that's pretty much about how you use the static keyword with variables and methods, blocks, and nested class. And thank you.